Hey everyone, welcome to Last Week in Cannabis, your cannabis news show. We do this show and dedicate it to every week. I apologize, this week we normally do it on Mondays, but with the holiday and everything, everyone wasn't available, and you know how the holidays go. So you get smoke a little extra hash and drink an extra drink, and I think we were all celebrating. So it was better to have off, and I think we'll end up having more viewers tonight anyway. So. Alrighty, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We got Brian Grow, or Brain Grow, with us. Be sure to check out his YouTube. What's your YouTube again? Was it Brain Grow or
Yeah, it's Brain Grow.
as Brain Grow?
Yes,
And then
sir.
we also have Roger from I Love Growing Marijuana. He's helping out the other guest. He's going to be on the panel, working out his technical issues. He'll be with us in a moment. Go every week. And try to cover the news, events, policies, legal decisions, and important announcements in the cannabis world from the last week, especially in relation really wonky legal bills. Anything important if you're in the cannabis industry, own a cannabis business, or are considering investing in cannabis, we try to cover, as well as anything that might be relevant to cannabis culture in relation to news and impact that it will have, positive and negative both. This week, we got a good rant topic. I'll just leave it in that. One of the ones, the last time you guys heard me really go off, that topic is going to come up again this week because there's legal developments on it. So it's going to be fun. Alrighty. So the first article we have here is from, you know what? I'm going to do this on the other screen. It'll be easier and quicker for me. The Cannabis.com, and the DEA said it would end its monopoly on research marijuana, but as to date, they haven't granted anyone any research licenses, despite that ruling in 2015. And it looks like they're just continuing their stranglehold on the industry, and it's how are the veterans are supposed to get their benefits for PTSD? How are these children with seizure disorders supposed to get help with PTSD? Look at fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia has been now linked directly to cannabinoid deficiency in the endocannabinoid system. Without cannabis and cannabis research, they wouldn't even know about the endocannabinoid system, better yet, have any kind of medicine or even a direction to aim their medicine for people with fibromyalgia. Cystic fibrosis is also linked to a certain type of cannabinoid deficiency. So it really, they're only, again, this is another case of the DEA only hurting sick people and only hurting sick patients and not doing anything to stop crime. But this is nothing new.
Yeah, the stuff they do like this doesn't surprise me. And I mean, I'm sure you probably have this story later on in the lineup, but this kind of relates to another decision they made in relation to a
CBD.
company that the company that makes fentanyl and their
Oh,
synthetic
yeah.
cannabinoid.
You know what? I forgot to add that to this week, but I'm going to
Did
go
you?
back and add that because, yeah, make that 2 topics that are going to make me lose my shit this week.
Well, I
Because
mean,
that
just
one was almost as offensive as what they're trying to do with CBD right now.
I
So,
mean, the way you described it though is absolutely perfect. How they have their stranglehold on the industry, you know.
yep.
Um, this article that I'm talking about proves it. You know, they obviously got paid off by the same company that put, I think, what was it, like $500,000 into marijuana opposition whenever Arizona
Yep.
came to a vote. They
Yep,
opposed it,
they're the ones
and
that were the
now,
biggest reason why it didn't pass in the last legalization round. They heavily sponsored anti-legalization groups, not just one group, but many.
yeah, and now the DEA has what it was the official decision. Like they were claiming that their product, which is a synthetic cannabinoid, is now safer than actual cannabis derived from a plant.
Yeah, that's what the DEA said.
So,
You know
I
what?
mean, that's
Let
just
me pull up
evidence
the
of their
article on.
stranglehold and the ridiculous effects they have on the cannabis industry. You know, as
We'll
long
cover
as
that
somebody's
article.
paying them off,
Here it
then
is.
boom, there
This
you
was
go.
from Vice. This was from Vice. So this is articles from Vice.com, and DEA says fentanyl companies synthetic marijuana is less dangerous than real weed. What the flying fuck? Like, there is no reason for this. It's completely psychotic. More people die per day from fentanyl than car accidents. Like, this is insane. You still there? Hello?
Sorry, I muted for a second. Had to get a drink.
Oh, I thought I disconnected.
But
Okay.
yeah, just like you said, their company kills more patients daily than probably any other drug on the market right now. This is
Yep.
probably the most dangerous drug on the market right now, and
Yep.
they're claiming that their synthetic cannabinoid is safer than a plant that has never killed a single person in its entire history. So what the fuck?
Yep. So the company is called Incest Therapeutics, an Arizona-based manufacturer of fentanyl. And they've been granted a synthetic THC9 product. Now, does everyone? The product is called Syndros. Does everyone remember how well the last time they tried to test and distribute a synthetic cannabinoid? Do you remember this? We covered this a few months ago on the other show. I think it was 22 people in the study. 11 of them died within 24 hours. 3 of them were ruled clinically brain dead, and everyone else that took the medication is like have permanent additional crippling disabilities. So this synthetic bullshit is just garbage. There's no reason for it. We have something that grows from the plant. It's natural. It's provides all this benefit to people. There's no reason to do this other than for them to get a patent on it and to make money and exploit the weak and exploit the sick. And you know who's working hand in hand with that? The FDA and the DEA.
Exactly. The government. The government is working with these pharmaceutical companies so they can, just like Steve described it,
Syndros.
keep a
Yep.
stranglehold on the cannabis, on the cannabis. What the fuck is the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, I'm stoned, dude.
Yep. And there's actually we're going to cover an article later on where there's a lawsuit right now going into the federal courts that could decide whether or not they're able to try and patent cannabinoids and cannabinoid formulas and shit like that, as far as percentages of mixtures for medicines, which again is complete fucking bullshit. Cannabis is here to heal people. Yes, you need to be able to make money when you're making a product in order to stay financially viable and continue funding research. I get that, but not with something that already produces these compounds that you can easily isolate. Like, this isn't even complicated anymore. We figured most of this out. People make extra concentrates, and then they're taking that, running it through a short path distillation unit, and then you can make any kind of mixture you want. That's why they're all paranoid about it, because they can't make any kind of monopoly on it. Anyone can do it in their garage with $20,000 worth of equipment.
Yeah, or I mean, even short of doing that, you have bubble hash, you have dry sift, and you have rosin that
Right.
you can easily do those things at home, completely safe, with no danger whatsoever.
Yep.
It looks like our guest just joined us.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. So Bill is joining us from ilovegrowingmarijuana.com. He's one of the moderators over there, and he's here to join us and comment on the news with us, along with Roger and Brango. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
You're welcome.
We are live on air, so we're just talking about this about how the DEA is allowing a company that produces to get a pass and a Schedule II classification on a THC-9, a synthetic THC-9. There's already a product out there, which is a synthetic THC-9, which is Marinol, which I don't know if any of you guys have had the unpleasant experience of taking it. Is fucking awful.
That's what I heard.
Makes your skin crawl. So,
go ahead.
So here we go. Incest donated $500,000 last year to a successful campaign to defeat a marijuana legalization ballot initiative last year in Arizona. The company said it opposed the measure because it fails to protect the safety of Arizona citizens, particularly its children. Here we go again with the bullshit about kids. You know, who's benefiting from the most from the cannabis medicines medically? Children with seizure disorders, children with untreatable cancer disorders.
Yeah, exactly.
And, you know,
the fact that they're using this argument in the political arena and it's completely backwards is ridiculous, you know, with absolutely no research behind their claim whatsoever. And
zero.
We have plenty of anecdotal evidence and that you can see that exactly like you described, cannabis helps kids with seizures, and it's starting to help kids with autism and all kinds of other stuff, to where they're turning these kids around from being where they can't even really function on their own because of the heavy meds that they're on, to where their brains are actually starting to repair themselves and they can actually learn and develop, you know.
Yeah, and they're not able to eat either. That's the other big thing. Now this allows them to eat.
Yep.
It's allowing them to become part of society.
Well, we got a big echo. Well, Will Garrigan finally made the show there, as you can see. I put some magic on him, and I'm sorry to interrupt the middle of your thing, but we're on now with Will Garrigan from I Love Growing Marijuana.
Interrupting Roger, that's what we call him.
Yeah, right. Well, we were at John. You were at the end of that statement, right? You're telling about the kids. We made the point about the kids. I just figured, you know.
We're ranting. Who's that echoing?
Oh, we're still rant. I think Will's echoing somehow, and I'm not sure what he's supposed to do. You have more experience at that than I do.
Oh yeah, if you're echoing, move your microphone farther away from your headset or your speakers, or turn down the volume on your speakers, and that'll get rid of the echo. There we go. Seems like you fixed it.
Okay. Great, say something. Say hi to the folks, Will.
He did.
I have.
Yeah, we're ahead of you, Roger.
All right. Well, I couldn't hear him, man.
No worries. So we got so in December, the ex-CEO of Incest and 6 former top executives were arrested and accused of bribing doctors, defrauding insurance companies, fueling the American opioid crisis. Federal prosecutors in Massachusetts say the company paid hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes, kickbacks to doctors who operated pain clinics in exchange for physicians prescribing the company's fentanyl spray to non-cancer patients. They pleaded not guilty. The trial date has not been set yet. This is the same company that is getting a buy by the DEA.
Wow.
But cannabis is the problem. Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's all about keeping it from going to the public, you know. It's all about keeping that stranglehold on it, just like you described earlier.
Yep. It's just about the money and controlling the money and the flow of money.
They're all going to end up partnering with Monsanto and Bayer. That's all it is. It's all going to be one international monopoly. They're going to try to squeeze us out.
Yeah, they've been really consolidating the last few months too.
Mm-hmm.
Bayer just bought Scott's. For those of you guys who don't know, Bayer bought Monsanto and the Scott's group. So now Bayer owns Monsanto and Scott's.
And
whereas they used to technically be separate but evil, or I'm sorry, equal.
Equally
evil.
Equally evil.
But now they're all the same.
And that also includes Miracle Grow, Botanicare products that we love, we have loved, and we're not loving on them so much now with that happening, and General Hydroponics, which is used now.
Gavita Lighting, the whole conglomerate. There's many. They're also trying to snap up as many small nutrient companies as they can get their hands on. I know
Right.
multiple Colorado companies were offered multiple millions of dollars to be sold to buy out to Scott's.
You know, that's what's sad too, is that it's so hard to, when somebody comes up there and you're trying to build a business to be successful, and then somebody like that comes up and offers you millions of dollars to sell out. It's really hard not to sell out. That's the biggest problem right there. You don't have you just spent $2 million getting your dispensary and seed company going, and now they want to buy it for 10 million, and that was your goal in the first place. What do you do?
So
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. So
it's tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. Australia is looking to South Australia, the state of South Australia is looking to institute a legal ban on driving while intoxicated on cannabis, even medical cannabis. They also want to allow people to buy a little kit that would allow you to test yourself before driving to make sure that you don't get in trouble. But you would not be able to drive for 5 hours after using cannabis is kind of what they want to do, which again is because of how different it is with every different person. It's so hard to regulate this kind of stuff because, I mean, I know people that have tested, you know, over 80 milligrams in their blood. If it's over 80 milligrams over a month after they've stopped smoking, but they were doing dabs every day before that, like all day. So, it's totally ridiculous. Now, in some states, they want to do 5 nanogram limit. How the hell are you supposed to be a medical patient and do that? Even if I'm dabbing, once I get home from work or done for the day and I'm totally sober once I get up in the morning, they'll still peg you for a DUI, which is complete fucking bullshit. And there's no medical basis for it, no legal basis for it, and no basis, scientific basis to show that anyone's intoxicated. In fact, multiple studies in both Colorado and California have proven that when you're driving on cannabis, you're more reactive and more safe and have fewer chance of accidents. So the whole thing is just ridiculous. But you also don't want people totally blasted out of their minds. But I think most people know well enough to not get totally annihilated, and do a bunch of dabs or edibles and then go driving.
Yeah, I mean, comparing it to any other drug, I mean, a person who is too stoned to drive is likely to say, "Hey, I'm too stoned to drive." You know what I'm saying? Rather than actually get out there and try it. I have witnessed it time and time again with my friends. You know what I mean? Like the ones that aren't heavy smokers or whatever. They're like, "Hey, man, I'm too stoned. Like, there's no way I can drive. So can you help me out or whatever? So." I mean, it's not like other drugs where people will actually decide to go out there and drive whenever they're too impaired to drive. So there's so many points that you can look at this from where this is just ridiculous.
And that
is there a website where you get this info from?
Yes, we have a shared Excel sheet. We actually spend time before every episode. In fact, I will post a link here in chat so that you can click on it if you want to on your computer.
I can hook you guys. We're on the same Skype too, so
Yeah. I'm sorry, I forgot to send you that before the show. But yes, we do have a. We organize. I organize everything before the show. Ooh.
Now, Will, you could turn your mic up a little bit, brother. Just your mic.
Yep. Sorry about that. I will paste it in private chat here for you.
And now, Will, did you have a question? Because I heard you try to ask something, and then brain growth started, and you yielded. Did you have a question, or did you just want to know about where the location of these links are?
Oh, the location of.
Okay. All right. Good. We're all handling it.
And that last article was from ADELAIDE now.com.au. It's an Australian news website.
Adelaide, something like that.
Yeah, I don't. Me and pronunciations and grammar and spelling, not so much. But when I do stand-up comedy, you don't require when you're doing your writing for that to. Anyways, it's one of my other passions.
Me too. I like it too.
Australia. So the next article is from theguardian.com. Australia held its first conference for doctors on medical cannabis awareness, as far as how to prescribe cannabis, how to approach patients about cannabis, educating themselves about cannabis, what the effectiveness of cannabis is for treating pain, nausea, vomiting, chemotherapy, pediatric seizures, and other illnesses that are aided by cannabis, so that doctors can know when to prescribe it. They're handling it a little bit more on the medical end, which is honestly how it should be, especially for cases like that. You know, absolutely. You know, you should be able to go to your normal home doctor. In fact, you can in Colorado and California, but in a lot of other states you can't. And get, you know, your medical prescription from them, rather than having to go to a separate cannabis doctor, which often are unscrupulous.
Yeah, this is absolutely great news because there's nobody better to educate people as well about cannabis than the doctors themselves, because you can put all this information in front of people and sometimes they'll just look at you like, oh yeah, that's great, you know, and that's as far as it'll go. But if you have a doctor telling them this, then they're going to take it a little more seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Another point on that same thing is that the reason another reason that it's so great that doctors are getting on board with this, because they had to have it proven to them. They didn't just want to do it. They did not want to do it. And now the proponents, that doctors, PhDs that are proponents of cannabis now, know what they're talking about because they've read the research and they know the truth. And that's the difference. And 10 years ago, you still had most of the doctors, they wouldn't admit that they believed it or knew the truth, but they know the truth now. So, and they're seeing it. They're seeing the results. So that's why doctors are so important now. They need to step up and take the reins and run this shit up the flagpole for everybody.
Exactly.
Did our guest get the link there in the private chat? Or do you need me to send it in? Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Did it open for you?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Damn, sorry. Oh.
So.
Oh, by the way, it was
alrighty.
92 degrees at 11:30 last night here. What's the next one, Steve? I just had to do a weather report for Carolina.
Oh no, it's been quite hot where we are. We're staying near Sacramento while we're house hunting in the Bay Area, and it has been brutally hot here.
Yeah, I think that's crossing. We were talking about it last week while you were looking for your next story. I thought I'd throw that out. Last night at 11:30, it was 92 degrees outside here. Woo! Woo!
So the next, I'm just having this issue with the damn ad blocker problem. Okay. The next article is from independent.co.uk. UK is going to get its first publicly available dedicated cannabis research facility. The aim is to have the world's first study on plants' medical benefits, based in the UK. The cannabis biotech company MediPen is the one backing it. It's an 18,000 square foot medical research facility dedicated just mostly for CBD, but also THC research. So that'll be kind of cool.
Cannabis biotech in the UK?
MediPen is the one. What was that? Someone's echoing. Backing it. The 18,000 square foot medical research facility dedicated just mostly for CBD, but also THC research. Oh, Roger, you're looping. That'll be kind of cool.
You what?
Cannabis biotech. I muted. Roger, I had to mute you for a second because you were just looping back. I apologize, guys, for all the technical problems. Now you guys know we're late today.
I opened the show to look at the chat to see if anybody had made any comments, and nobody's there, and that's what happened. I guess I had two browsers open, and
there's a couple people. We got Mr. Slowski, Too Cool 420 Adventures. I think he was with us last week, and we got Derek Jones.
Oh well, maybe I can open it up in Chrome, and it won't do the same thing.
Yeah, we got a couple people watching.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks to all the live viewers.
Article. Yep, thank you guys for joining us again. As always.
Especially on an off night. That's great.
So the next article is from the BaltimoreSun.com. Maryland approves the first medical marijuana dispensary. I know we talked about them finally giving them the permits and everything a couple weeks ago. It's nice to see them finally get opened. Just approved it. Hold on, let me find the name of the company here. Normally I have more time to copy everything ahead of time, but we were a little bit rushed this week because of the holiday and me trying to get back in time to start the show, running all the way to the Bay Area and back from where I am right now. So, CEO of Curios, the company is called Curio. So, but they're supposed to open a long time ago, but such is life when you're first getting started off in a new medical cannabis company or state. Sorry. The next article we have is from fox4kc.com. Arkansas opens application process for medical marijuana permits, which is really awesome. It took them quite a while. Arkansas has one of the more restrictive bills that's out there. It also is extremely pigeonholed as far as strains and a few other things. Qualifying things are cancer, glaucoma, hepatitis C, multiple sclerosis, Tourette syndrome, digestive tract issues, Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, seizures, severe nausea, and a few other issues, muscle spasms, and a few others. So, and you will have to issue it. I believe it's every year. You have to get reevaluated. So, again, very restrictive, but not a step in the right direction.
Not as restrictive as all the states will just allow it for epilepsy or seizures.
Yeah.
So it's better.
So do they have like a full plant law, or is it like a CBD law, or what is that like?
The last time I read into it, it was mostly a CBD law, but I know that they've had 2 or 3 regulatory changes to it, and I haven't kept up with it. So I wouldn't feel comfortable giving a good answer to that.
Cool.
Something to take note of.
Yeah. This next one was from the New York Post. I thought that was just kind of funny. A couple got married in a dispensary grow room, which was kind of funny. In I think it was Nevada on Monday, if memory serves me right here.
Okay.
Yep, in
Yeah,
Nevada.
I saw some of the pictures from that. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, the pictures are really funny. There's just like a sea of plants around them.
That's
Mark,
neat.
where marijuana buds is a corsage.
Oh yeah, that would be dope.
Do you like rent the dispensary by the hour, or how does that work?
What's that? Yeah, I don't know. They're not the first couple to do it, but it was just kind of funny because of the legalization there this week and everything. For those of you guys that don't know, and we're going to cover this a little later on, Nevada started medical cannabis sales, or legal recreational sales, I'm sorry, on July 1st.
Wow, great. I've been too busy to know that too. Damn. Good thing there's a new show on every week. Telling you what's
Yeah,
going
good thing that somebody's trying to cover all this shit and one needs a show to watch.
And
The next
I
article
believe
is
just like anybody else who starts a recreational business or recreational, their demand was underestimated. So I believe their supply is pretty low.
there's been quite a few articles about that, about Canada, and how there's no way that the current cannabis production in Canada could handle the market demand at the moment. The next article is from fox5newyork.com, fox5ny.com. Man claims he was wrongfully fired using medical marijuana. So this is a guy who is legally using medical marijuana in New Jersey. And when his work found out, despite stellar work performance, he was fired without warning just for testing positive for medical marijuana. He has a genetic disorder that impacts his body's connective tissue, which puts him in excruciating pain. It's called Marfan syndrome. He was legally prescribed medical cannabis in early 2017. He's now suing the company over it, which this is the kind of law. Now, for those of you guys that aren't aware, there was a guy that worked for Dish Network in Colorado who had a crippling, his cerebral palsy, I think it is, or anyways, he was in a I'm not cerebral palsy, I forget. Anyways, he's paralyzed from the neck down, from the shoulders down. His arms work, but in his head, but the rest of him he's paralyzed. And what happened was he was driving a truck working for DirecTV, got into an accident. That's why he's paralyzed in the first place. He was having digestive tract issues and then bowel issues and some other stuff, and chronic pain. So he was taking medical cannabis legally prescribed in Colorado, and he tested positive for a cannabis after being drug tested randomly at work. They fired him. Now, I don't know about you, that's the whole level of wrong that I don't see on a normal daily basis, where a guy gets hurt while working for you, is a stellar attendance after recovering from his injuries, no problems in the workplace, no complaints about performance, and then you're going to give him a complaint, you're going to fire him over medical cannabis when he was injured on the job working for you? Like, it's beyond wrong. And anyways, the courts ended up siding in favor of DirecTV, which was fucked up. So hopefully this case will end up setting case law in the correct direction, because this is bullshit. If you're working just fine at work, there shouldn't have any say into what is in your system. If this is going to be the case, I want them to fire people for testing positive for opioids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I've actually where I'm at. This is actually business as usual. I've seen this several times. And worked for a couple of companies that they follow this exact same procedure. And this is in order for them to keep from paying any kind of medical bills or workman's comp or anything like that. They drug test you right then and there if you have a work-related injury or anything like that, and if you fail the drug test, just like this article described, they fire you right there, and there's nothing that you can do about it.
Not only that, let's give everyone the same tests they give people that are on probation to find out if they drank the night before. Well, let's be even across the board and see how many people still work for your company.
And let's just see how fast it goes away when no one wants to have a test, whether it's liquor or cannabis.
That's my point. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
If we're gonna do this, we need to be fair here. Anyways, who's banging their glass?
That's where the problem is. Nobody's interested in being fair to the cannabis business. We're just discriminated on. It's ridiculous.
So this is a good one to get your juices flowing. This is from stuff.co.nz. This is in New Zealand. Man convicted of cultivating cannabis for wife's chronic pain. What a horrible criminal! It's fucking ridiculous.
Such
I'm not
a
going to be
person who would do such a thing.
This as a parliament to decide, but I agree with the police. Your culpability is at the bottom end. Anyways, it's totally ridiculous. He grew his plants to treat his wife's pain. He did not use the cannabis himself or sell it, and still convicted him. So.
And what state was that in?
This is in New Zealand. The guy's name was Snowden, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, they're real. No way, Snowden.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well he had a raw deal going in.
The judge says if you're found again by the police in possession of cannabis or you're growing cannabis, those charges will be recalled. Oh, okay. So.
Yeah. You'll get a double whammy.
Yeah, I'll get a double whammy.
That's unreal. Yeah, it's but they're funny over there. I tell you, I got friends in Australia, New Zealand.
Oh, here's the reason why. They also found guns and ammunition, which is he was not legally allowed to own in New Zealand. I missed that part. It's the very last line of the article. I missed that when I pasted this.
that's what they've done over there in the last few years. They've gotten rid of all the guns pretty much, except for extreme, just like basic hunting rifle kind of thing.
Yep.
They outlawed guns. They're like I don't know, they're like the cannabis laws here in the United States. I mean, I don't even,
Yeah.
can't even think. 90s, the 80s, the 90s, after the drug czar was created.
You know what? You know, it's funny though. If you own a gun in Europe, it's considered disrespectful to fire it without a silencer because it hurts people's ears and it pisses off the neighbors. But in the U.S., like that's a big deal. Like you get in big trouble if you don't have a permit for one. So I always thought that was comical to me. Like in one place it's disrespectful, in another place it's illegal. Like what the hell?
Well, on comical, you can legally buy seeds in London, but you can't
Canada or Canada. So in Canada,
Yeah,
you can legally sell seeds, but you're not allowed to legally sell grow supplies.
or cannabis. Yeah, and in Australia, New Zealand, you can't buy grow
crazy.
supplies you can't buy hydroponic nutrients on eBay.au for Australia. Those people over there have to scavenge from China and all kind of places to get good quality stuff or try to do organic and all, which is going to be nice that we're hanging out with you guys is going to
Especially with my
Well, in
microbial.
Australia, if they're doing organic, I wouldn't imagine they have a problem finding stuff that they can use.
But it's the other thing,
no,
they can't grow lights or anything off of eBay. They gotta either go to a grow store, but they don't have grow stores because.
Well, but there actually is a Spectrum King distributor. In fact, I was just there. Spectrum King actually does have a distributor now in Australia somehow.
Well,
If you guys
good
are
for them.
curious. By the way, like oh man,
That's good.
I got a sneak preview of the grow battle from FishCon comment on who's doing better, but it was one of the two lights did like comically better than the other one.
Well,
So-
yeah,
I'm looking forward to the reveal of those results.
Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to the review myself. I heard
Yeah.
a little bit of hints and that. I heard some rumors, but I'm not going to say anything.
No. No, we're not going to say a word until FishCon reveals.
It's not our experiment to reveal anything.
But I will say that like after his video, it's going to be pretty clear like which light you should go with in the future, and it'll be interesting to see him test that light against other companies' lights, and I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I like the fact that. Well, what the hell?
Who's echoing? All right, sorry guys, we're having so many technical and audio problems this week. I apologize. It's not normally, excuse me, this bad. So, next article comes to us from NPR.org. Some marijuana-derived treatments aim to soothe skittish pets. So, for those of you guys who don't know, there's actually a whole industry that has cropped up around cannabis stuff for pets specifically, both in California and in Colorado. Which is there's a Santa Cruz based company that makes a bunch of cool stuff in California, and then I know when I worked in a dispensary in Colorado, we used to sell these stuff called doggy doobie bones, and they were little tiny dog treats that had like 25 milligrams, and they were really good for dogs that are arthritis or in pain, nausea, especially giving a lot of so even a couple of vets now will prescribe them for dogs when they come out of anesthesia because it keeps them from vomiting so much.
Yeah,
So-
I've mostly seen CBD for dogs that
Yep.
people are doing.
But in Colorado, you can get THC treatments for your dog for cancer. I mean, it's anything you can get for humans now, you can damn near get for your dog in a
awesome.
cannabis form. But it was kind of cool to see a mainstream article like NPR cover this kind of stuff. So, but a lot of people have been finding that it helps a lot with dogs that are scared with fireworks. For instance, I know there's a pit bull / I forget some other really normally not skittish breed without getting too detailed. And last night with all the fireworks, he just wanted to sit between everyone's legs or be like underneath somebody because he was just terrified of all the fireworks. And it's kind of funny. This dog that's normally willing to like throw down on the yard was the biggest baby. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, my dogs are like that too. Like with thunderstorms, we get some really violent thunderstorms because we're between a lake, a canal, a river, and got the ocean a few miles away. And yeah, it gets crazy some here and there. My dogs are they'd be hiding in the end of the hallway, in the darkest part of the hallway and stuff. But yeah, last night at fireworks, I was concerned for them too. A couple of them are a little skittish, like you said. Big tough dogs until somebody shoots a firework off.
Yeah. So this next article comes from express.co.uk. And if anyone wants to chime in at any time, feel free. I'm sorry, what was our guest's name from I Love Growing Marijuana again? I don't mean to be a stoner today. I just smoked a bunch of hash right before we got it live.
I think that Will or Garrigan, whatever. I don't think he cares what you call him. He's on Bill on here, but
feel free to chime in whenever you want.
Yeah, I can't understand Roger. I got echo going on.
Okay, yeah, Roger, you're echoing.
Am I still echoing now?
Yeah.
A little. You were a little bit, yeah.
Okay, I can turn down a little bit more, but Will, you're echoing really bad to me. So since we're on the technical issue tip,
yeah, someone's got a little bit of white noise.
I might have a little white noise because my AC kicked on.
I'm gonna. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just turn my mic down unless I want to talk.
Okay, thank you. Try that, and we'll see if it's yours. I'm gonna mute you a second, Roger, just to see if it's yours. Sorry about this in the middle of it, guys. Nope, it's Bill. So it's our guest. So do you see when you hover over the picture of us talking, it has like a little bar at the top there, boss?
Yeah.
There's a little microphone button. You can click that and just mute it when you're not talking. I'm gonna mute you for you, but just unmute that button when you want to talk, okay?
All right.
Thank you. There we go. All right, sorry about that, guys. We were having a lot of technical problems. Normally we go over all this stuff beforehand, but we just had a lot. We're just trying to get started today because we were running a little bit behind. The next article we have is from express.co.uk. And this is Greece becomes the 6th EU country to legalize cannabis for medical purposes. It's nice to see that the medical cannabis is slowly spreading through the EU. I know it's either later this year or next year that Germany will be legalizing, and a whole bunch of other places are legalizing. They're actually doing proper medical studies over there, so every EU country that legalizes is going to only help the cannabis industry, only help cannabis patients. They're currently going to allow prescription of medical cannabis for PTSD, chronic pain, epilepsy, cancer, as well as a few other digestive tract diseases.
Yeah, that's awesome to see all these countries around the world legalizing it. It sucks that we can't get the same cooperation from our federal government, but I don't know.
I think we will the next time we get an actually democratically elected government. The last election we had Hillary Clinton, and the DNC illegally throw the election on that side, and then we had, everything that happened there with the Republican side, which I think goes without saying. So, but Greece is also joined by the Czech Republic, Finland, Netherlands, Spain, and Portugal that have all allowed medical cannabis. Spain, I think, was it Spain or Portugal that legalized most drugs a couple of years ago, and just the drug addiction rate plummet there because of it. They decriminalized all drug use, and if you have a drug clinic, they have these places you can go and do whatever drug you want. You'll be supervised by doctors. No one will badger you or tell you shouldn't be doing it. And if something bad happens to you, you have instant medical treatment. And then they also offer you every time you visit it, hey, do you want to stop doing this? Okay, cool. Here's treatment. We're happy to offer you treatment and offer you help and to help you, recover from this stuff. So That's how it should be. You know, this is a health problem, not a criminal problem.
I didn't happen to see that one, but I know Canada actually opened up some heroin clinics that are pretty much the same as what you're describing. You know, a place where they can actually safely go and do what they're doing, and then receive help if they wish to receive help.
Sorry about the backhoe in the background, guys. I don't know if I don't think it's coming through the mic, but I'll try to keep my mic muted. Alrighty, let me find the next article here. I overscrolled. Okay, the next article. Oop. Cannabis extract could be the first pharmaceutical treatment for acne in 20 years. And this is from the Daily Telegraph.
Say that again, Steve?
Yeah, I lost you.
Oh shit. Did I screw up there?
You muted your mouth.
Oh shit.
You're good now.
We're just bombing the show. Technical issues today.
Well, like you said, it was a lot, you know, because we're all coming out of a holiday and you're moving and, you know, we're all coming out of a holiday. We postponed the show for a couple of days and we were just flat running late and weren't, you know, we were right up to the time to start the show, you know, so it's just the way it was.
Okay, cannabis extract could be the first new pharmaceutical treatment for acne in 20 years.
That's interesting. You rub it on your face or what?
Hold on, yeah. For whatever reason, the article all of a sudden doesn't want to open. Normally, I have time beforehand to write synopsises for these, but now that it's being picky. All right, or we'll just not cover this article because the website is being stupid.
I'll check on it. I don't know if Brain did. He's on his phone, so I'll check.
No, fuck them. They don't deserve traffic. If they're going to put a paywall up, they can go to hell.
What number is it?
I hate, like, I'm happy to help people out. I'm happy to do whatever, but don't just block access to shit. Like, I'm not even going to give them, like, exposure. Okay. Next article is eastbayexpress.com.
There you go. And
California took big steps to closer to regulating cannabis industry. So they recently passed, was it SB 94, I think it was called? Hold on, let me double check. The name of the bill is called the Medical and Adult Use Cannabis Regulation and Safety Act, which consolidates the two laws that regulate legal cannabis and create one set of rules that covers medical and adult use. So it doesn't mean that they're identical. Medical is different from recreational, but so this bill has a lot of good and bad things, unfortunately. So it includes ALMA, which is one of the worst fucking legalization bills to come through anywhere. But it also, this new bill helps industries a lot. It also particularly helps out helps out the Northern California producers. One of the things that's going to help out some of the cannabis companies that are establishing in California is it allows for completely vertical integration. So has one list of license types. It says each license can be marked and distinguished for medical or adult use. That said, licenses are allowed to be both medical and adult use as well. It also allows for complete vertical integration, meaning as a grower or as a cannabis company, I can own the production, the grow. I can own the retail space. Sorry about the backhoe in the background. We're doing construction here at this farm I'm working on. So you can have, the distribution, you can have the retail space, you can do extraction, which is considered manufacturing in California. And you can do all the different pieces in between. You can have a nursery. There's no limit, whereas before with the class, anything that was a class 1 and class 2 license could have that, but they were restricted to 10,000 square feet or less of canopy space. With this new thing would allow class 3 licenses, which is the 10,000 to 22,000 square foot, which is what most people are going after. There's a couple of things. It also allows people to have up to 4 acres of total grow space, meaning I can have 22,000 square foot of grow space per site, meaning I could have 4 separate sites, or I forget however many the math works out to total sites, up to a total of 4 acres, instead of restricting it to the original 22,000 square foot of canopy space, which would have meant, extremely restrictive for cannabis companies, especially in larger cities. So it's definitely a bill that impacts some of the stuff that I'm working on at the moment. This new law also creates California Highway Patrol to create a task force study with impaired driving for cannabis and a report back by 2021. As we all know, there's no reason to worry about impaired driving with cannabis because in Colorado, they noticed it was like a 40% reduction in fatal car accidents after cannabis legalization. I mean, it was just, all it did was lower fatalities. Now, they had a few more fender benders or rear ends, I think, accidents, but they resulted in much fewer actual incidents of people being injured. So,
yeah. Plus, I mean, you shouldn't be irresponsible with what you're doing. You know, if you're gonna smoke and you can't handle it, make sure you have a designated driver, or you just stay where you're at. You know, practice the same kind of stuff you would with alcohol.
One of the other things that's kind of fucked up about this bill is it changes the what you can have in your car. So before, you could have up to an ounce on you before it was an issue. You could have up to an ounce inside the personal area of the vehicle and the rest in the trunk. Now there's no limit, and all of it has to be in the trunk or in a sealed container, which again is complete fucking bullshit. But if only they required that shit with alcohol. Oh wait, they don't. So, Bradley, so allows vertical integration, holding multiple licenses, requiring multiple locations, multiple compliance officers. It ensures everything is copacetic. They've streamlined this process and allowed for total vertical integration with one set of licensing, which, as someone that's applying for a company right now in California, it just infinitely makes the business end of this just so much easier. Growers can also self-distribute, whereas before that was a huge issue. So,
yeah, that's something anybody who takes the time to grow out their cannabis should have anyway.
Yep, absolutely. Let me check in here, make sure we don't have any comments. If anyone's in chat, feel free to ask questions or chime in with feedback. We're happy to have people add to the show. Next article comes to us from WashingtonPost.com. And for those of you guys that don't know, you can check out all the articles that we link in the description of the YouTube, or in the comments in the YouTube section, YouTube link of this podcast. So if you are listening from another source, that is a way to check it out. Second, I gotta open this up on my other browser because I have ad block on.
Ad block.
Well, it won't let me open it at all on my other where I actually stream from, because I don't allow ads on that computer.
Yeah, well, once you get settled in, we'll get the spreadsheet out earlier in the day and work on it together, and then it'll be better.
So the feds have stepped in and are blocking anyone that's receiving federal housing assistance from applying for medical cannabis or using cannabis at all in DC, which is fucking bullshit. The residents voted to legalize in 2014 up to 2 ounces of possession and to grow up to 6 plants at home. And there's no reason why these people should be excluded just because they're on, federal assistance because of, be it a veteran or, someone that's retired or disabled or whatever.
And again,
yeah, that's complete bullshit.
Yeah, and again, for you people that are new to the show or new to the industry or the whole cannabis and marijuana activism side, it's because it's against the federal law, which is why federally assisted.
Exactly.
Some people don't realize, because it's against federal law, so it's still, that's exactly what we're talking about. Greece is going to, all these countries are legalizing it, and here we go again.
Not only that, you want to hear what's really wrong? Because I'm working on a project right now with a veterans group.
You're working on a project?
Yeah, me working on a project. Imagine that. I'm working on a project with the veterans group right now, and a lot of the veterans have to choose between getting cannabis for their PTSD or their pain, or getting medical assistance from the VA. Why the fuck are we forcing our veterans to choose between medical treatment and aid for their PTSD? That is beyond fucking wrong. These guys have given everything they can to fight for us and to stand up for us, and you're turning around and tell him what medicine he should use? Go fuck yourself. These people have fought and put their lives on the line for us. They deserve whatever medication they think is going to help them. This is ridiculous.
You know, I just wonder, if you decide on the medical assistance, do they drug? I would think they do. They still drug test the veterans. They drug test them, don't they?
Yep. And say you go in for a surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. They drug test just regular patients that are receiving pain medicine. Like if you have to receive a really strong narcotic pain medication and you wish to stay on that, you have to test positive for that medication next time you go in, and they check on whether or not you're getting your refills regularly and whatnot. And if you test positive for THC, they'll take you off of that medication.
See, so that's really fucked up, because they need the narcotics and then they need the cannabis to wean off the narcotics, like our friend that was on Thursday night, Hogmaster, you know.
Yep.
You know, he had to use it to wean himself off of methadone and many other nasty pharmaceuticals. And it was a perfect guest to reflect that, because this was a guy that could barely function, and he found medical cannabis, and now he's just hard working and up, 18 hours a day, and takes care of his son that's got real bad diabetes and all. It's really a testament to what we've been fighting for the last 20 years.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a good point, but I mean, another point aside from that is, if they're going to give you access to this medication, they're still regulating it in a way. They're not really giving you the right to choose how you want to medicate, and that's what cannabis is all about. I wouldn't, if you feel like that's what helps you, and you can use a little bit of cannabis on the side to help you out a little bit as well, then do whatever you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, and on the other side of that brain grow, last thing, Steve, just give me a second. Last thing on that to close that and segue out is that these same people that I've had, all right, but with because of me running forums where I deal with thousands and thousands of people, like I run into and I hear stories, there are those that still want to use the narcotics. They are using cannabis.
Exactly. That's exactly my point.
They're using cannabis so they can eat more than anything, but the cannabis alone does not solve all their pain. It does. We've even had guests on the show. My first show, 420, was a veterans pain. About that whole thing was about this, right?
Yeah, we've covered it in multiple episodes.
Yeah, but we had a couple of veterans on at the beginning discussing about their issues with getting off of pain pills and stuff. But even one of them said they were never able to completely get off the narcotics, but that the cannabis allowed them to eat and function, where they'd be sick and, like not want to do anything if it was narcotics alone. So it really goes both ways. You can't limit one or the other. And again, like you said,
exactly,
limiting their choice. And that means there's one guy that says, like Hogmaster says, I can do just cannabis and do extracts, and I don't need any pharmaceuticals. And he's got 2 6-inch, like 3/4 inch diameter metal rods in his back, and he's using cannabis. And you got another guy that says, I couldn't manage the pain with just cannabis. I still need that narcotic. So I just wanted to throw that in there. I got many, many members and friends that are right on that edge right there.
Well, you have one right here.
Absolutely. Great point.
Yeah, Will. There's Will. He's in bad shape himself. I mean, none of my friends are non-afflicted and they're old, so I can bring a bunch of old afflicted people to give their opinion. And Will, why don't you speak? Talk a little bit, man.
Well, I was fixing to say, what do you think, Steve? Let's hear from the guest.
Anyone's afflicted if they hang out with Roger too long.
Yeah, I'm the result of everybody's bad habits. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I smoke to eat and put weight on. Pharmaceuticals don't do that for me. I've fought it for 5 years now. And the only way I can put weight on is to smoke. And that's it. A pill don't do it for me.
Have you found that, flour works better than concentrates, or concentrates or have you just been, whatever your options been so far?
Well, my problem right now is swallowing. I cannot swallow. I have a lot of issues going on. I had cancer in the throat. And I don't
Have you
know
ever
what's gonna
tried
happen.
taking a tincture orally, like maybe concentrated down and then a coconut oil tincture, something like that?
No, I haven't tried it yet. I've been doing a lot of dab.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have
Totally.
another tumor growing on my chest, and that's right
Oh
right
no.
next to my animal level. So that's causing a lot of issues. But
The other good for that is supplements, but they're a little less to do.
What's that, Steve? You
but
broke
I'd
up on
much
that one.
rather smoke. I would much rather smoke than
Oh,
take
the other for that
pills.
is suppository.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah, for
bioavailability is much larger with the suppository from what science says.
Yeah, well, you discussed that Thursday night a little bit. Yeah. Well, so Will finally said at the end of his statement is what Will said was that he really his method of choice is smoking the flower, cured flower. But I think that's a bad choice, and I would tell him that on a private call, which I haven't thought of before. But since we brought it up, where I didn't realize, I thought he did some kind of tincture or oil, and could possibly take it orally. But he's smoking when he's got a throat affliction. I think smoking with a throat affliction is an extremely bad idea medically, from a medical standpoint. But
it depends. If you're doing dabs, dabs are fine, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
anything
dabs,
they
you're
can always
doing
smoke
a
flower.
lower temperature and concentrating it right into your bloodstream with dabs, you know.
more like
Yep.
vaporizing rather than smoking herbage, or
Exactly.
organic
I mean,
matter.
that's whenever you dab, that's basically what you're doing is you're vaporizing the material.
Right.
Yep.
So there you go. We just
Right.
to bring that up and give Will some help. We'll get him hooked up with some ideas about using that, and have him on later and see how it helps his throat, because he does. We'll be talking because we work together, and I'll be talking with him, and he'll get to where he can't talk. Literally, he fucking can't talk. So yeah, if we could figure out some kind of, I think vaporizing would be great for you, man. That's what I think you should try it first.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend an oral tincture. Something that won't be too
There you
harsh,
go.
like a coconut oil. Because I've made tincture using a grain alcohol and left it to where the main concentration was with grain alcohol in it. And then I've also done it to where I boil off all of the alcohol and then replace that with a little bit of coconut oil with the concentrate that's there. Just up to however concentrated I want it to be. Usually it's in like a little 2 or 3 ounce bottle with a dropper, and you can just put a couple of drops in the back of your throat, and I bet that would help. I'm no doctor, and
no, but I'll try
obviously, but that's what I would recommend.
Yeah, I think that even together, both options would probably suit you well. Instead of smoking pot, vaporize your pot, and then, which works real well.
Absolutely.
You try it out and give it, and be open-minded. I think you'll find you really like vaporizing, especially when you're in pain all the time. It'll get your whole body fucking high.
Yeah, and the thing with vaporizing though as well is that I believe it's like what 95% of what you're actually breathing in is fully bioavailable cannabinoids and terpenes and stuff like that you're breathing in, as opposed to whenever you smoke it, you're breathing in smoke, which is like 75% just tar and stuff that you don't want in your lungs anyway. So you're getting much less bioavailability from smoking rather than vaporizing.
Right. If I smoke, I cannot talk for days. It's too harsh. I can't do it.
Yeah, that would be great. Like to try out an oral tincture and then let us know how that works out for you. I'd be interested
Oh,
in hearing about
absolutely.
that. So,
Yeah, I've
do you
got to
grow
do
your own
something.
cannabis?
Yes, I do. I just got
Awesome.
done
What kind
doing
of
a journal
strains?
on. I
What
just
kind of
got
strains
done
do you
doing
feel like work well
autoflower.
for you? Oh, autoflower. Okay. What? Oh, I'm sorry.
Uh, White Widow works great for me. I've been growing
So
mostly
sorry
White
about that,
Widow.
guys.
Hey, Will, you're echoing a whole lot. I don't know if you can do anything about it on your end. I've turned my microphone and my speakers down, but you're echoing a lot, buddy. I mean, because we really want to hear you, and sometimes it comes through okay, and the echo's okay because we can hear you. But if you speak too many words too fast, it's really getting jumbled in there. But I think everybody's getting the point across. That's a great idea, though. And we'll hook you up with a method for that too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah, I grow my.
go ahead.
I do grow my own. I have now for the past 5, 6 years. And I just got done doing 7 strains of autoflower. And the White Widow really works well for me. It really does. Helps me sleep and puts the weight on me.
Well, sleep's important. I guess that's one definite aspect of finding the right sleepy time medicine.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
absolutely. If you
I'm
can't
up all
really
night
take care of your
long. I
body if
cannot
you can't
sleep.
sleep.
I mean, you know that, right? I'm up all hours.
So we'll also get another. Will did something really cool for the company. He works with me at ilovegrowingmarijuana.com, and he was gifted the entire collection of the autoflowers. You know, we got him the whole collection, and he grew them all at once. So it's like 7 or 8 strains from Blueberry AK-47. I think there's a Super Skunk, an Amnesia Haze, White Widow, and then of course there's the Ruderellus, whatever the fuck, the original autoflower, Lowrider.
Lowrider, Blueberry.
So as he worked, he can, he might at some point be able to give a review. He's worked on it. Have you done much reviewing on that?
Not of lately, no. I'm just doing my harvest.
Okay. See, so he's going to be able to do a little review and give us a better idea about what autoflower strains that might work best for whatever kind of affliction or pain. And if it works for pain, if it allows you to sleep, or if it gets you up and going in the morning. So we might have some data on that down the road for you.
Yeah, I'm giving it about another 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll know. I want it to cure real well.
There you go. That's the way to do it, huh, Brain Grow?
You know it.
Absolutely.
I see Steve coming back. Do we have any more? Well, do you have anything else, Will, you want to share with the people on the news tonight, or your opinions about the news stories tonight, or anything like that?
No, I enjoy listening because I'm gathering quite a bit of information.
Okay, well then I think Steve's back, and Steve, do we have any more good stories? I know you've been saving some that we're going to rant on, because I thought you were amping us up a while ago, and now we've got all happy and nice again because Will got to talk to us for a while, and he's a real laid back,
Awesome.
kind of guy, and he's in his 60s like me too, so he's an old fuck, Oh, shouldn't say fuck. Sorry.
Sorry about that, guys. I totally forgot that I had food on the stove, and I wanted to make sure it didn't burn yet. So I totally forgot.
That's all right. In all due respect, though, Will is the oldest one here on the panel tonight, and we respect that. Yeah, and
thank you for that, Roger.
Yeah, well, I think it was awesome.
Thanks for coming on the show.
I think I know you didn't probably read much of these news stories yourself anyway. You'd be a great Thursday night guest too, and probably next time we'll have you back on Thursday. I think Steve would probably agree that down the road when you get some of the results from the autoflowers and all we were just discussing. And Steve, I don't know if you heard it, but ILGM gifted Will because he works for the company. He was gifted all the autoflower genetics, and he grew them all at one time. So he's going to have, in a couple of months, he's going to be able to review all of them in relation to the medical benefits he can see in them. So we'll have some data on that. So that's what you missed. And then I was figuring you were getting us all, he was done. You're getting us all amped up to get all pissed off about something. So I didn't know, are we there yet? Steve froze. Brain, did he freeze over there for you too?
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Roger got me worried. So the next article comes from Virginia MN. Minnesota Medical Cannabis Program to include PTSD. I know a lot of states struggle super hard, and a lot of veterans groups struggle super hard to get PTSD covered as part of the cannabis qualifying cannabis treatments, or I'm sorry, qualified cannabis conditions. Too much hash today. So as of July 1st, you can now register for a medical marijuana card in Minnesota for PTSD. So I know it helps a lot of women and a lot of men. I've been through a lot of stuff, as well as veterans. A lot of people have been child abuse and all kinds of other crazy things. It's not just stoners. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Some of the people that really need help the most and are the most fragile will benefit the most from cannabis, which is, children, people with PTSD, people with, traumatic, gone through a lot of trauma, people with chronic pain, so.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff that they prescribe for things like that are benzodiazepines and stuff that can also be potentially dangerous and have real sedating effects on the body, So, I mean, cannabis is definitely, in my opinion, would be a safer option for that, because the anti-anxiety abilities of THC are just amazing. If you've ever smoked cannabis, you just feel amazing.
If you've ever been pissed off at somebody and smoked cannabis, you can attest to that. There's been
exactly, like it isn't just something that people say whenever you smoke and you just forget what the hell you were mad about. You smoke and you literally don't give a shit about what you were mad about,
Well,
so it's
the terms forget though. I wouldn't use the term.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. You just don't give a shit about what you were mad about,
Yeah, well, it
like your attitude
Yeah.
instantly changes on the situation.
I find it allows me to mellow out and reason with my brain and my heart and put it together
Exactly.
on the page, and then I'm not pissed off, even though I still remember what happened, but I resolve it in my head. And it's a thinking. It definitely, I tell you what, I really believe it does expand educational abilities because it allows you to zone in on what you're interested in. If you can say that's a good or a bad thing, but I feel like if you want to study something and you smoke a joint, you really want to study it, not a joint make you go to sleep, but some genetics that make you alive and happy, and then you want to read and learn stuff or follow that passion, you will do it, whether it be music or whether you want to be a physicist. I mean, I don't think we've probably got a lot of physicists that smoke pot, but either way, I think you could do anything you want, and I think it's been proven because we've got people all that are now admitting it that we're in government or we're does anybody know? It just came up and then I'll shut up. But who knows the answer to this question if there is one? Has an astronaut ever admitted to smoking cannabis? An ex-astronaut or anybody like that? really somebody high level like that. Be
As
interesting.
far as an astronaut, I do not know of any astronauts that have ever smoked, but I don't know. Maybe that could be easily obtainable information.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. Anyway, so we ran it on about that, I guess. Steve's getting
Oh,
ready.
gee,
for
didn't
the
President
next
Clinton smoke?
Steve's getting unmad before he gets mad.
Oh, Clinton smoked, but he didn't inhale.
He's not talking to me now.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute there. I was smoking hash.
Well,
In case anyone's wondering,
I don't
some
think
pure hash.
Yeah, kiss my butt. Good for you. That's
Smoke
nice.
weed, smoke hash. So do Astra? So apparently, let's see if this is true or not. Huh?
Here we go. All right. Let me get this. What number are we on, Steve?
Oh, I don't know. Apparently, I can't come up with an easy answer to that question. We'll try to have that for Thursday, since tomorrow.
All right.
By the way, we have Quest humidifiers. They make commercial scale, small home and commercial scale dehumidifiers, and they'll be with us to talk about how to use that in greenhouses as well as how it applies to aquaponics, which we know is often high in humidity.
Now that's something I'm extremely interested in.
Yep.
Seeing that I have a greenhouse and indoor and outdoor operations. So.
Yeah, and we've had 2 really good guests the last 5 or so episodes talking with us about VPD, so it'd be kind of cool tie-in.
Yeah. I mean, I have to go back and listen to those shows.
Yeah. Spectrum King and the Black Dog episodes cover a lot about vapor pressure deficit. For those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's not something that's talked about a lot in cannabis or aquaponics, which are the 2 topics we cover on the Thursday show. Alrighty. So cannabis in Nevada opened sales on July 1st. I know they generated almost $1 million in tax revenue in the first weekend. So that was pretty awesome. It's hard for them to say that it's hurting the state when they're making that much money in tax revenue. The only thing that's making that kind of tax revenue as a blanket tax in the state of Nevada is the casinos. So.
And
it's always good to see a new state, legalize recreational for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Huge shout out to Nevada people. Go get you some recreational weed.
How many states does that make now?
Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada, Alaska, and then DC, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and Colorado.
Massachusetts.
And Maine. Was Maine a recreational yet?
Yep. They were medical and they went recreational and really twisted everything up. Well, it's good and bad.
Well, yeah, they have it, but they don't think it's open sales yet, right?
Well, it's kind of, I haven't got the latest on Maine, but I do know that the people that were there with medical marijuana in Maine were very happy with the way things were, and they were able to be caregivers and all. And then they voted into recreational, but they didn't provide any kind of guideline or, they had no clue about what they were going to do. They put it up for vote, it passed. And I'm not sure. I think you have been able to start growing recreationally, and you get to grow recreationally as well. But the medical growers there were worried that they were going to change their ability to be caregivers. And that was a big concern because not a lot of people up there want to really grow it. The caregivers really were going to be able to supply local areas and stuff. And now it's up in the air, and I haven't heard any different. So that was what people there were scared of in Maine. In fact, aquaponic dummy. This all comes from aquaponic dummy because we used to talk for hours, every other day or whatever. And so I went through the election period. We were talking a lot, and he said he was going to be on the show Thursday, didn't he?
AP Dummy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's supposed to be on the show. He might even have something for us. So
that'd be cool. That'd be really cool.
Yep.
So anyway, so most of that main stuff I learned from him. So if he gets on the show,
He can explain it real well.
we can bring up how that's progressing with their laws, because that's as much as I know, and that's only from conversation with him, which is where it was at.
Yep, and that was from hold on, thespectrum.com. The next article is from stuff.co.nz, and that New Zealand, same New Zealand website. We were talking about earlier. Basically, it's called "Dying Kiwis Become Criminals as They Turn to Medical Cannabis," and basically they've had a uptick in arrests of people who are basically facing terminal illnesses, being arrested for cannabis because they see how much it helps people in other parts of the world, and are like, you know what, I'm dying, screw it. So now there's a big push for legalization right now in New Zealand, which I think we've talked about on the show before. So it was just kind of interesting to see how it's fucked up. Why are they arresting these people? We just talked about the other guy helping the pain, his wife who was in chronic pain in New Zealand. What the fuck, guys? Like, he wasn't selling, he wasn't distributing, he wasn't smoking it himself. What's the problem? God forbid someone would make their own medicine. And that's really what it comes down to, is attacking people for making their own medicine. The next article comes from newstalkzb.co.nz, another New Zealand website. A bunch of MPs in New Zealand are now pushing for legalization of medical marijuana and eventual legalization of recreational marijuana. There's 5 out of 6 members of parliament spoke at a conference panel on Wednesday about a bill to legalize medical cannabis in New Zealand. So it's called the ACT Party is already in favor of decriminalization. So.
It should have been called "It's About Time, Mate."
Sorry, somebody just walked in the room. I gotta tell them to shut up.
That was good.
I'm doing my podcast. They know.
Crinkle over there. The people in New Zealand, it's about time the government
come in here looking for weed handouts. I'm just teasing. Next article comes to us from Leafly. Congressman slams anti-cannabis group false claims on MMJ protections. Sorry, I'm looking away from the camera. It's just easier for me to read the other screen sometimes, depending on how the article loads beforehand. Long story. Mostly has to do with ad blockers and how I have my
glow across your face.
Yeah, I don't have everything set back up yet, so once we get that set back up, it'll be easier. What's his name? Republican, U.S. Representative Donna Robracharaj from California, and Earl is a Republican, and then Earl Blumenauer, Democrat from Oregon. Luminaire. Marijuana industry loses key protections from federal enforcement and proposed spending bill, which they're opposing. We'll talk about that a little bit more in depth and how that actually affects everyday stuff for us. Somebody's beeping. We're having the worst technical issues on this episode today. Anyways, we'll just skip this article because I'm having problems.
Is the echo gone?
All right, so this is the article that pissed me off.
Here we go.
This shit.
We might all be pissed off in this article here.
This shit right here, brother. This shit right here, brother. This shit right here, brother. To like politely change Cat Williams' famous quote.
Rant of the night coming forth.
Right. So this is from the cannabis.co. The DEA digging in its heels on marijuana extracts, legality of CBD oil on trial in federal courts. Cannabis special report, CBD, TBD, outcome. Lawsuit pitting the hemp industry against the DEA could chart a new course for CBD and a booming new agricultural sector. There are two widely different views on how the federal government has classified CBD with a new drug code for marijuana extracts, which I think the biggest meltdown I've had on any of these was the one I did about when they initially made it as class Schedule 1. It was a more administrative maneuver meant to bring U.S. in line with international drug control treaties and to better track medical research. It was opening the salvo and the federal offensive against the emerging American hemp industry. Proposed final rule posted a federal registration last December by the U.S. Drug Enforcement established controlled substance number for marijuana extracts. The DEA saw an innocuous, as innocuous as the hemp industry saw it as an existential threat. They changed CBD to and all cannabis-derived extracts to the Schedule 1 status under the Controlled Substance Act, which is complete fucking bullshit. Because there's no medical research or medical basis or scientific basis for such a change in the law. Confusion swelled after the initial reports erroneously asserted the scheduling action occurred. CBD was now illegal in the crosshairs of the government, which they're still doing, though. They're arresting people for shipping it between state lines and all kinds of shit. They're also attacking the hemp industry directly, and what I know it's happened in southern Colorado.
So, if I can inject something real quick for those of you out there that do this, that are getting caught, I'm sure if the research was done, that would be because you're advertising the sale of it, then you sell it, and you put it in the mail, which now makes it a federal crime going across state lines. You got yourself arrested because you advertised it and sold it somewhere online. All right, that's what I wanted to inject.
Hemp industry lawyers claim the rule instantly subjected what was previously lawful operations to DE registration and drug code assignage, effectively treating their products as controlled. The coding also amounted to the DEA acting outside of its authority to attempt to schedule cannabinoids or even marijuana extracts, which are not explicitly listed in the Controlled Substance Act, the attorney alleged. So, and this is going to have huge implications for whole sections of the country. This is now up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So, this is going to have huge implications in multiple states, depending on which way it goes.
We've been talking about this for the last couple of weeks, haven't we? This is like an ongoing, really big brewing situation, isn't it?
Since December, yes.
Yeah, but I mean, lately we've been really, because it's coming to the decision's going to be soon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are kind of confused, and you're like, well, there's hemp and there's weed, and what's because people don't understand why this is so enraging. So, for those of you who don't understand why this makes our, get our panties in a bunch, what happens is people grow what is called medical hemp, which has high in THC or low in THC, below 0.3%. And then high in CBD or high in THCV or high in CBN or high in CBG or high in any non-THC compound. Or maybe it's also a good fiber hemp, but if you press it and run it through a roller, you can squeeze out, the juice and the rosin while you're doing it, or, cut the flowers off of it and still process the fibers and get a medical hemp product. There's companies working on that right now. And those can't get you high. You can smoke a whole field of it and it won't get you high. There's not enough THC in it to get you high, but it does have CBD in it and things like that. So what the DEA's law did was effectively make growing CBD hemp, which again cannot get you high regardless of how many pounds you smoke back to back, and make it illegal to use for CBD extract, which doesn't get you high, and CBD extract is only used for medical patients. No one's recreationally using CBD only products. That doesn't work that way. That'd be like I recreationally take a leave. Oh yeah, like I take my Advil for fun every day. Like no, it's ridiculous.
Good.
There's very little recreational value in CBD. I know that because I'm growing a CBD strain I've been growing CBD strain for the past few months, and I can smoke on it all day, but there's not going to be any euphoric head high type effects to be felt from that type of strain.
Yep. Yeah, it's just total ridiculousness.
I just can't believe when they take such a step back, when they keep proving this stuff works, and why outlaw a totally harmless plant that not only would help the medical industry and the children out and old folks and people with cancer and everything else, and take it away, and then not to mention you can have you can make clothes out of it. The military's always used it for rope. When they have a war, it was okay to grow hemp. Then at the end of the war, they destroy all the seeds for all the hemp and ruin the farmers. And then they had to start growing corn again. And then Monsanto ruined that and took all everybody's farms. And here we are, no farms, no farmers. You know what's going to happen to you guys? If you don't get your shit together, there ain't going to be anybody in the country growing food for you.
Humans have been using hemp for 12,000 years. As long as we've had boats and as long as we've been using rope, we've had hemp.
Right.
Okay? This is insane. The United States, when the very first settlers were required to make 18% of their land industrial hemp. The Constitution written on industrial hemp. For the 100th anniversary of the United States, the Sultan of Turkey gave one of every type of cannabis plant on earth to the President of the United States, where it grew for over 20 years. Okay? These are facts. This is how important cannabis is to the history of the United States. We just had the 4th of July. If it wasn't for the canvas sales that allowed George Washington to, his ships and stuff to sail to help attack the British over in Jersey and some of that stuff. It wasn't for the rope for them to tie off their boats and stuff that he used to attack the British on Christmas Day when we, finally beat back the British and started pushing back. Like, that's how important hemp has been to our history. The military uniforms they used when they attacked the British were made of hemp. This is ridiculous.
The first American flag was made out of hemp.
First American flag was made out of hemp. Damn it. This is our history.
By the way, hemp is 6 times as strong as cotton.
Yep.
And you can produce oils from it, lubricants, and even fuel.
There was whole public campaigns during World War II, hemp for victory. They grow more hemp to help the war effort. This is insanity.
Everything the U.S. government does doesn't make sense.
It's insanity. You meant to say it's insanity, right, Will?
Pretty much. Everything is half-assed backwards.
Hey, did I just see a funny? We're on a little. Can I ask a Jeff Sessions question of the week?
No, we have our Sessions shit coming up.
Oh,
we decided we were going to cover that every week now and call it Sessions shit.
Shit from Sessions. Yeah.
Shit from Sessions. Shithead Sessions. Is that what it was? Shithead Sessions. Maybe that's what it was. Shithead.
There you go, Shithead Sessions. The Shithead Sessions section.
Yeah, Shithead Sessions section. I like that. Try and say that 3 times fast.
Section. Oh, yeah, wait a minute. Session said, yeah, okay, that was good.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I like that. Well, that's
We're going to add that to the, yeah, I like that. Way to go, Brain Grub.
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one day we'll get our shit together.
One of these weeks we'll actually have everything, fully read beforehand, and time and not be
Yeah.
rushed.
Everybody says they like the show because we're not perfect and that we have fun. So.
Well, yeah, we do have fun. I actually got quite like you were just saying. I have gotten quite a few things, especially with the other show. You know, we get guests on, and then we just kind of have fun with them. We'll ask them monkey questions. We had, you know, there was that stupid one we were at on Mammoth P that somebody asked about like human proteins and the thing, and it's like it's fun to dispel stupid shit once in a while too, or have a little fun, you know. So. The next article comes to us from the Cannabis.co. Nevada made just under $1 million in revenue out of $30 million in sales. I'm sorry, just under $1 million in revenue and expects $30 million in sales for the next 6 months as far as tax revenue. That's pretty awesome. You know, that's honestly one of the reasons why you're getting cannabis legalization right now. A lot of these states are hurting for money, and they see this as like a windfall. Now look at Colorado. They had so much money, they had to give the money back to the people. Because they have a windfall tax law there, where if a tax gets too much money too fast, it goes back to everyone gets a check for the same amount of money it lives in the state.
I guess we'll have to quit bitching about all they charge for people to get in the business then, huh? Because that's like a rebate for everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
So here's the.
It's like Alaska, you know, with all their oil. You know,
Yep.
When I lived up there in 81, 82, and 83, and 84, we all got checks over $1,000 a year. Every year.
Yep.
All from oil.
So the next article comes to us from the Cannabis.co. The title of the article is, in the DEA's words, agents' stance on the CBD and hemp products and the Farm Bill. So basically they're using the Farm Bill to help, again, attack CBD production without getting into great detail. But the media focuses attention on many refer to Charlotte's Web or CBD oil. And this would bring it under the FDA regulation as well as Cosmetic Act, FDCA, and the Controlled Substance Act, which are all the laws that CBD production technically violates on a federal level. And we were talking about, I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but, you know, Charlotte's Web has their own little evil cabal of lawyers to try and just push through their only strain. And, you know, they're not really trying to help anyone. They just want to make a bunch of money. They're greedy assholes, the Stanley brothers. That's why they don't distribute their genetics. They don't, you know,
in one word, they're monopolistic.
Their products are a joke. I mean, the last product I looked at had 9 milligrams of CBD. Who the hell is that helping? 9 milligrams? What, a newborn? That's like a single dose for a newborn, maybe. Like, that's crazy. I saw that and just was blindly offended that they're even attempting to sell something that's not diluted. That's not going to help anyone at that kind of dosage rate. 9 milligrams. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways.
Yep. We were discussing that the other day when we were talking about Robert's 5%. I couldn't find I have to find that out too. That's a good point. That's a learning point for CBD oil that we probably ought to discuss more when we talk about it, because I just now realize that I've got members, and if they don't know where they're buying it from and it's not a good source, they might be getting just ripped off. You know, that sounds like kind of situation where the consumers just getting ripped off.
Basically, the DEA wants to use the Farm Bill to force IND and FDA, USD, and DEA research and registration for hemp and hemp production before they'd be allowed to sell CBD products again, which that's going to take 2 to 5 years. People don't have 2 to 5 years for their relatives that are sick right now. They don't have 2 to 5 years for their kids with seizure disorders. This is bullshit. The only people that are affected by this bill are sick people, not people trying to get high. That's what's so infuriating about this shit.
See, yeah, we only get so pissed off because you won't just outright legalize it. But when you start taking it away, when we know there's a child out there that has 200 seizures a day, and if they take CBD oil, they have maybe 9 mild seizures instead of shaking violently. Like, if you've ever had a seizure, I have, and you had to do that 200 times a day, I imagine that would take a lot of toll on you, mentally and physically, beyond all belief. And we're doing this to children. This lost for words. They're archaic. This archaic ideal and government backed ideal is just, it's time to move on. And I mean, half the freaking states almost and half the world are now saying, fuck U.S. policy, because that's the only reason they were against drugs in the first place in a lot of places in the world, especially the Far East. Like places like Indonesia and places Thailand, they didn't give a shit about that. It's market value. In fact, there's still more. You can go to any of those places and use whatever you want when you're there, as long as you don't try to take anything in or take anything out. When you go there, you can pretty much buy and use what you want. But the only reason that they made those laws that would be death penalty, like people in Australia going and getting a death penalty because they carried a bag of weed into Thailand, was because the U.S. was going to cut all the money the U.S. government was giving to Thailand was going to be cut off if Thailand didn't make a severe penalty. And so, of course, Thailand's going, well, they're giving us a shitload of money, so let's make the most severe fucking penalties we can make. And that's why all those places you grew up, I don't know about, Steve's maybe a little bit behind me in age there, but we grew up with that, being scared. It's a different thing if you get arrested over there for drugs. And it is. And the U.S. government made it scary to get arrested for drugs over there. So, sorry, that's my little piece of that puzzle.
One of the guests we have lined up for the other show allegedly may or may not have been one of the largest importers of Thai stick into the United States for the better part of the 70s. And it's going to be really cool to get him on the show. I got a chance to hang out with him the other day. I'm going to see him again here soon, and he's agreed to be on the show. We just need to work out a day that works for him. He's got some stuff going on now, but he's going to come on in a couple of weeks. And he's one of the two. I have another really old school kind of cannabis grower, smuggler, producer, allegedly may or may not have. That's going to come on the show too. That long since they've done anything like that, but it'll be fun to hear some of the old school ways and some of the old ridiculous shit that people used to have to put up with for some of the new whippersnappers that don't know half the things that some of us older people have had to go through in regards to the cannabis industry as a whole and just getting some smoke.
Why we started growing our own, because getting your own smoke became quite an issue.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun to get.
That's why people that are our age that teach you how to grow is because we had to learn how to grow, in order to get something worth using, Yeah.
So that'll be one of the ones coming up here soon. But it is completely insane how the DEA is trying to sneak this through with the Farm Bill. It's in Section 7606 of the Farm Bill.
They didn't want any part of it. Now they want to put parts of it everywhere. They want to own parts of it everywhere. They're going to keep.
Well, you know what it is? They're not trying to actually regulate in the same manner. They're trying to sneak this shit in a Farm Bill while no one's paying attention. And this is, and again, this is the kind of shit why we started to do this show. Yeah. I haven't heard about this article anywhere else on any other, and I listened to probably 5 or 6 different cannabis shows. I'm a big fan of Duke Grows, big fan of the Growers Roundtable, big fan of Hash Church, and a bunch of the other shows that are out there. And I haven't heard anybody talk about this.
It's real important too. I was saying
super important.
This is another topic that we've already covered in past weeks. So this is another one of those hot topics that we're going to be covering, just like the the legislation that's going on that we're waiting on the decision that's really going to shape where we move from or how we're going to move forward, whether we have a leg up or whether we're been knocked back down a couple steps. So.
Oh, we might have to bump this down, and we'll make this 2 articles for that section here. Hold on, 1 second.
I'd look and try to help you out with that if you tell me what number you're on.
Oh, give me 2 seconds.
For those of you that are mine, I'm not totally inept. I'm legally blind, and so it's kind of like he says, well, in California, but that's not what it says on the spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, sometimes because we just went over an article that tied into another article, I'll hop ahead because I made the list of articles. I know that it's coming up, and it's like, all right, well, this is relevant to talk about right now because it's an easy segue or whatever.
I like that idea anyway, bulking it together so you don't go, well, in this state, and then you come back and kind of cut on the same thing again. That's a better idea to put them all together, yeah.
So Massachusetts lawmakers, this is from the cannabis.co, Massachusetts lawmakers are still seeking a middle ground on the marijuana bill. They passed that new higher tax rate. I think they went from 10% to 25%. Remember we were talking about that last week or the week before? But they're trying to reduce it. There's a bunch of people that are saying, hey, this is too much. It's only going to inflate the black market. So they're trying to reduce it a little bit or have it scale. You're trying to come up with a solution that would be a little bit more forgiving to the market as it launches, which is if that's the best we can do, it's okay. But it's better than the original set. So the fact that they're moving in the right direction at all is definitely a big props to them.
I think that this is showing that Massachusetts is one of the top level state governments that are really trying to make it work out and quickly and not bullshitting around. I think they've
definitely been like bang, 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 bang with the bills, which has definitely been infinitely more or less frustrating. Not that I'm working on any projects there, but infinitely easier for people that were working on projects or trying to get established in the industry there than some of the other stuff out there.
Right,
some of these states are waiting months. Like look at Vermont or some of these other places, Maine, or Maine's Washington, where they pulled the rug out for medical, or all different kinds of scenarios.
But Massachusetts is impressive. I have to give a couple claps up for the legislature there. Even if it's not all perfect, they're moving in the direction where the medical marijuana people and the recreational people will have guidelines. It's probably as quick as I've seen any kind of legislation move along. It appears to be going in that direction at least. We'll see.
So they're having the Rainbow Family Gathering in Oregon this year, and they're having it on a national forest. So the federal government decided to set up a pop-up court, and they're going to prosecute people that want to smoke weed at the Rainbow Gathering just because they're fucking dickheads.
I'm sorry if I pissed y'all off when I laughed.
Imagine that.
I'm not laughing like I think it's funny. I'm laughing like I can't fucking believe it.
Laughing at the ridiculousness.
Yeah.
U.S. government has sent federal prosecutors to a pop-up court on the in East Oregon to process citations against people attending a massive counterculture peace gathering on public land that could draw up to 20,000 people. Those unruly, peaceful people.
Goddamn you peacemakers.
They go to a peace gathering and they want to start shit. Look at that. So
can't have peace, got to keep the people divided for government to work the way it does.
Absolutely.
And you just ruin the karma of everybody's trying to go and do a thing, which is supposed to be their right of be free as a free American to go do a thing, and they're gonna set up a pop-up court so that everybody's got their sphincter muscle all tight as hell, and nobody's gonna enjoy or even go to the fucking event. I'm sorry, I gotta quit, fucking this and fucking that, but it's kind of like the kind of stuff that makes me want to say fuck this.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's okay to get wild out if it's legit. There's too much stupid shit the government's trying to pull right now. And again, Who is this hurting? Not the people trying to get high, not the frat boys trying to smoke weed on the weekends, not trying to get the kids dabbing between classes. It's hurting the medical page, the kids with seizures, the people dying with cancer, the people with skin cancer, people whose kids have autism and they're, it's just, there's just no fucking logical reason for any of this bullshit.
Mind-boggling.
There's the three things that piss me off most in this life: people that do things and their actions create hardships for children, and people that do things and cut back on funding for our senior citizens. Of course, I've reached that point now, but I've been bitching about this for 30 or 40 years because I felt like they took care of us. We had to take care of them. And and they want to keep cutting funding on both of these groups. And the third thing that really pisses me off is if you kick my dog. I'm telling you, those three. I'll fight you.
Hell yeah, man.
Come to my house and you kick my dog.
No, so don't fuck with the children. Don't fuck with old folks because they need your help because they supported your ass and built the damn country for your ass. And don't fuck with nobody's dog.
Yep. All right. The next article comes from the Cannabis.co. Utah patients file medical marijuana ballot initiative to bypass legislature. For those of you who don't know, there's been a pretty vicious battle between Utah Patients Coalition and federal state regulators in Utah. There was recently an enormous protest where over 40 people showed up and basically had a sit-in in Congress, similar to what happened. They got national recognition a couple of weeks ago over the medical stuff in Washington, where a whole bunch of disabled patients basically had a sit-in in the state legislature until they were, escorted out by guards and all. So this bill would eliminate it to help mostly with seizures and more serious medical conditions, but it would be a start. They're trying to gather 115,000 voter signatures this summer are needed to qualify for a ballot initiative for the fall. So please, 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 if you guys know anyone in Utah, try to get them to sign that.
Definitely do
another
your
big
part to
backer
make this go through.
Yeah, please. Another big backer of the group is the Epilepsy Association of Utah. The president of that has backed the bill, backed this initiative as well. So
their population is so spread out there, and then you've got a large Mormon population. In regards to this, how does the Mormon faith feel about this? I can't. I'm imagine there's maybe two factions.
It's a good question.
Well, the Utah Medical Association.
Tell you what. That's what's going to happen in Utah is what they want.
The Utah Medical Association plans to openly oppose it. So
and that's probably run by Mormons.
You know why? Because it hurts pharmaceutical profits, and for no other reason.
Yeah. It's all about the money.
All about that dollar.
Interesting. Yeah, but being in Utah, immediately you have to consider what do the Mormons want, right? Am I wrong? Am I right or wrong here? I think that's going to have a lot to do with medical. Oh, now that's something to research. Then there's another note to take on that one. Researching who exactly controls the Utah Medical Board. In relation.
Quick shout out to Silver Arm 32. He just said hey in chat. For those of you who don't know, Silver Arm 32 is the oldest YouTube channel, continuously running YouTube channel on aquaponic cannabis. So be sure to check him out. You can get to him on the favorite section of my show on my channel. So if you're looking for that.
Hello, thank you for joining in. Wow, what an honor.
Somebody's beeping. I think that's Bill there. He's a beeping.
Still, you with us, Will?
Yeah, I'm here.
Good man. Good man. You enjoying the show tonight?
Oh yeah, I'm listening.
we're doing it a little bit different. Yeah, doing it a little bit different. I think it was fun tonight. We exploring things a little bit more as we've gotten into the flow.
Yeah, we're on the home stretch here.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got Lex articles the Cannabis.co. Denver finalizes its first in nation marijuana social rules. For those of you who aren't aware, this will allow for basically cannabis clubs similar to coffee shops in Amsterdam where you can go and smoke weed and leave. You have to be 21 and over. They'll have different kinds of licensing, indoor, outdoor regulations. They're still working on the final set of regulations, but it looks like the initial fee will cost around $2,000.
Huh. Wow. That's a big ka-ching for the state government. Piggy bank.
The interested businesses or businesses that have applied for the thing are yoga studios, coffee shops with backdoor patios, bars, and restaurants. So liquor license holders must be willing to meet strict alcohol exclusion rules for regular or one-off events, since state liquor licensing rules bar mixing alcohol and marijuana on the same premises.
Okay. Well,
so
that would be pretty big for tourism as well.
Oh,
it'd be really good for cannabis to be the only one allowed at the event too.
Well,
that'd be the first time that only cannabis was allowed and there was no alcohol allowed.
Yeah, I've been to some cannabis events too, where
well,
you can't bring any alcohol.
You spoiled people out in California. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So, the bill is called, what was it? I-300. I'm gonna mute him because I think he keeps beeping here. I'm gonna mute you, and just unmute if you need to talk, buddy, because something in the background's beeping. All right, sorry about that, guys. We've had like an infinite number of technical problems today. Okay, so we have, all right, shithead sessions section. Is that what we're calling it now?
Oh yeah.
The Jeffrey Shithead Sessions section.
Yeah.
No, you said no shithead sessions section. Isn't that what you said? No shithead sessions section.
So this comes with the cannabis. This comes to us from the Cannabis.co. Former acting Attorney General Sally Yates. Sessions' drug policy is unjust and dangerous. It's fiscally irresponsible and undermines public safety. So she pretty much completely tore him a new one in a speech the other day, and I just wanted to highlight it because it was very well thought out, and from the previous person that had the same job. So. Anyways, definitely check that out. And then, get off my keyboard, you little jerk. The cat's trying to mess with my keyboard.
Trying to get to your lap.
You're being bad. Ow, you little fuckhead. He's swinging at me now. I'm trying to use my mouse.
Just punch him. It works every time.
No, it'd be nice.
I'm just kidding.
I think he just wants to go outside. He's like a dog. He goes to the bathroom outside. He's kind of cool. Anyways, the next article comes from the Cannabis.co. Sessions isn't making America safer. He might be making it more dangerous. And again, this is a similar piece on that, and they basically cite a bunch of different statistics on how under the Obama administration, with the reduction of crackdown and basically the easing of medical marijuana laws, it led to a marked decrease in violent crimes, especially in states like Colorado. There's heavy data on this, murders and homicides and violent crimes and everything, pre and post legalization. So, and all of them show a marked decrease in violence. Again, nobody wants to fight when they're super stoned, only when they're drunk.
Yeah, that's right. Because if you're super stoned, you're just going to lay on the couch.
Yep. And then the last article we have today is the cannabis.co. And this is kind of our dumbass article of the week, where we cover a weird weed topic that gets kind of, you know, we try to cover each week. So this one is Bay Area airport screeners accept bribes to let through coke and weed. San Francisco supervisor screener who used to work at San Francisco International Airport pled guilty to receiving a bribe and turning a blind eye to more than 50 pounds of cocaine that went through his x-ray machine.
Yeah, that was probably a pretty big paycheck.
Yeah, Scott accepted a bribe for up to $4,500.
Oh, no
Bobby
way.
Napier, a man who bribed him, and was sentenced to last week to 4 years. Man, yeah, if you're an airport screener, extra $4 or $5 grand a month, that's gonna be gravy, you know.
Yeah, it was how many pounds or kilos?
50 pounds of coke. That's
50 pounds. That's
worth the $5 grand to get it through the airport.
Oh yeah, just to turn your head for a couple of seconds. Quick payday.
They were also found allowing 24 pounds of weed into a carry-on to pass through different screener's X-ray, and a couple of other things, all at San Francisco International Airport. So
that probably equates to 10%. It was probably so it was a $45,000 because it's probably about a $1,500 to $2,000 a kilo. So. You know, so if you put price it like that, that's a 10%. So he got 10%. I'm so sorry. I had to think about the commission. Yeah.
According to Google.
No, I'm not going on Google. I'm just going on top of my head. Oh, allegedly. I had. You know.
Yeah, I tried to help you there. Tried. You tried.
Yeah, but yeah, we have.
Well, I'm sure they got a bunch of good laughs from anyone listening.
Well, you know what? In the early '80s, I knew somebody allegedly, you know, and I believe that I had. You said it was 50 pounds. I had to go. Well, how much out of 50 pounds? And it's 2.2 pounds per a kilo. So that's like 24 or 23, I guess. I don't know, whatever. And then so you do that by just 2,000. So now you're at 46,000. So he was given 10% of the haul. So that makes me think the haul was worth 45,000. He was given 4,500 every month. So yeah, I guess for a guy out there, it's pretty fucking stupid to do that because you're gonna get caught. I'm sorry, but yeah, I feel bad for the guy. I guess.
The poor guy was just helping people out, you know, trying to bring people together.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get into the political ramifications of that statement tonight. So,
anyways, I think we'll wrap things up here. Be sure to. Does everyone want to tell people how to find them if they want to find you guys?
Yeah, definitely check me out on Instagram at brain_grow, and the same thing on YouTube, Brain Grow. I'll probably be releasing a hash making video here pretty soon, so make sure to check that out. I'm gonna be doing some dry sifting and some bubble hash making, so I'm looking forward to doing both of those things. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Will, why don't you tell people, you know, do you have any kind of page other than you're, you know, working with us at ILGM?
No, I don't.
Well,
no, I don't. No,
so
I don't have another.
So what would you like to tell people so they'd come out there and find you?
Well, they can find me at ilovegrowingmarijuana.com.
Awesome.
Well, Will's a moderator there, and he's been helping me out for 2.5 years. He was actually a member about a month before I joined, and helped me from the very beginning. His, you know, helped me out with when I first started, and on that particular website, and kind of mirrored my information, you know, and helped make a nice foundation for teaching the members with the same ideal, so everybody arguing or thinking you got to do it a different way. You know, he took the same thing from other, experienced growers, and he's helped us out. And last year we were in the need of the site had grown so much that we were in the need for it. And this was the first moderator after myself, and that was asked to join because of his all the work he had done, to get the right. Yeah, I mean, look,
And not to mention,
the respect to be asked to be a moderator.
and
Done
not
a
to
great
mention,
job. Everybody loves him.
we've become great friends also.
Yeah, well, you've done a great job. So I wanted to help him out there because he's a little bit, he didn't want to say much about himself, but he's worked his butt off for the cannabis industry. He's a very compassionate guy. He helps out anybody that needs help. And so thanks. It was nice to Steve for you to invite Will to be on tonight. I'm sure he's thrilled about that.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for adding input to the show for sure. And Roger, yeah, right.
One
last beep.
One last beep.
It's probably his phone going dead, from being on.
Right. Roger, how do people find you?
Well, I'm always at ilovegrowingmarijuana.com. Hanging out with the gang. Got a great bunch of people, members, and we all just share really valid information and in a very friendly format, mature format, and act appropriately. So all you people that are scared of we act appropriately on the show for the time, at the time. But I see you laughing at me.
No, sometimes we get a little heated language-wise, I guess.
The thing is that the forum. I've been on a lot of forums for a lot of years.
Yeah.
12 years. Yeah, and we've made a forum that you don't have to be scared to come here. You can come here and ask questions, and nobody's going to treat you like you're stupid. Because if you never grew before or never grew cannabis before, you're not expected to know. I mean, that's why you would come to a forum and ask questions. So there's so many. It's sad there's so many forums out there. And I hope maybe saying this will maybe change things in the cannabis forum world. It's all become commercial about selling seeds and bongs and whatever, and nobody gives a shit about how the members are treated. And they let assholes run their forums and just treat everybody like crap. And one thing Robert Bergman and the boys in Amsterdam have allowed us to create at ilovegrowingmarijuana.com is a friendly atmosphere where men, women, anybody can come. You can have fun and you can talk all the shit you want to. It's like we got journals. So I kind of leave it like a journal's like your own room. I don't come in your bedroom, like your journal's your bedroom. Now, I don't want you to, nobody to do illegal, like, or inappropriate things and to an extent, but pretty much I leave people alone in the journals. We leave people alone in your journals, but on the open forum, you can come and ask questions. We got a wide variety of topics and stuff. And I just wanted to say that because don't be scared. If you're out there listening, don't be scared to join that forum. I can understand why many people don't want to join a forum. And we even do that. If you never want to come to a forum, but you want really good grow advice, you can email support@ilovegrowingmarijuana.com and ask a question. It's the only forum out there that just allows you to send an email to support@ilovegrowingmarijuana.com, and they will forward that to our expert moderating staff and the members. And we'll answer the question for you, and you never even have to join the forum. So you can get a question for your cannabis, problems. We also have the aquaponics section now that Brain Grow and Steve come and visit once in a while, and we're going to be building a podcast section so we can carry all of Steve's podcasts and all, because the Thursday night podcast with the Growing with Fishes is the most informative cannabis video or audio streaming situation and show that I've ever been witnessed or been a part of, and that's continual, week after week after week, with expert and commentary and people, and we have fun and get fucked up over there too. But Steve gets real.
No, and Marty.
Real guests, man. I mean, we get all guests are real. You know, we want the medical guests, the veteran guests, and all, but no other show that I've ever seen. Maybe I'm wrong. Y'all can probably tell me I'm wrong, but I've never seen a cannabis show that gets to kind of guests that owners of companies and stuff that are influential and looking forward into what is necessary to build a better cannabis world and make it better for the growers with the exact right equipment, not just whatever is available. So with that, with the Black Dog and Spectrum King and Mammoth P and Optic Foliar, all four of those shows, again, I'll say it every week. And, just incredible information. You listen to, I'm advertising Thursday's show. Sorry. But you listen to Growing with Fish's podcast #1, and then you listen to all the shows on the last month and a half with Spectrum King, Black Dog, Optic Foliar, and Mammoth P. And if you can't get information out of that, I mean, that's about everything you need to know to be really successful. Because we even discussed we brought it up. I mean, we brought up all that kind of topics that related to information with those 4 different, companies for the new grower and all. And it's just amazing. It's amazing, the information. We all learned something. Every one of us on the panel, every one of us learned stuff we didn't know before all those guys came on the show. We were pretty impressed, I think. So I'm just thrilled. And thanks, everybody. And Steve, thanks for asking Will. I know he really liked that, man. He's a good buddy, man. It's nice. And Brain Grows always yeah, I'm ranting on, huh? You're like, my forehead's sweating. I hate to have an arrow,
We just need to wrap the show. But I appreciate it.
Shut up.
No, I just thought I'd give you a little shit since you set yourself up easy.
Oh, I thought I plugged everything we need to plug to make us go forward, on our off day.
So definitely go check out Aquaponic Cannabis Growers on Facebook. Be sure to check out AP Meds YouTube channel. Marty wasn't able to join us tonight, but I don't know what the fuck happened. But be sure to check out Marty's stuff. Check out his Patreon, which is AP Meds as well, I believe. And then check out our other YouTube channel, or not other YouTube channel. Check out our other YouTube show, Growing with Fishes, every Thursday evening at 6:30 Pacific time. We also might have I'm working on getting 1 or 2 Australian guests that you guys might have heard of before, and we might end up moving the show to a Friday in an upcoming show, but almost always those are Thursdays. And yeah, check out my channel, Potent Ponics. I'll have some more content up there in the next couple of days. I'm just working on stuff, trying to find a new house. Yep, pretty much just house hunting right now. I'll have some more video from the greenhouse here shortly in the next week or so. I'll have a little update from that. We're not in construction yet, but there's some progress to show, or we'll have some progress to show when we get to shoot that. And I think that's it for now. And I'll see you guys on Thursday. Thanks again for everyone for joining us. Yeah,
and thanks to the live viewers especially.
Yep, thanks for those of you that stuck it out this long.
Yeah, tell your friends.
Yep. Cheers, everyone.
Peace out, guys.
And if you guys are wanting to read any of the articles, I'll say this again at the end. I cite all the articles in the YouTube comments. So if you're listening to the audio format of this, just visit the YouTube version of this if you want to check out any of the links for yourself. Thank you very much. Have a great day.